And I, on behalf of Illuminations, Wellbeing Center JLT, welcome each and every one of you today for the webinar. I work at Illuminations as a therapist, and I'm a regression therapist, transpersonal psychologist. And the more number of years I have spent on this, on my profession and understanding the mind, the more I am amazed by how everything that we do, everything that we are, is just based on our sense of self that we have developed in our childhood. The subconscious mind, how it governs and rules our life. So, why mind matters? Mind matters because without the mind, we are nothing at all. The body kind of collaborates with the mind. So the body has an intelligence of its own, but that intelligence is based on how, again, we have assumed our sense of self. What I mean by sense of self is how we have learned to see ourselves from the first moment that we started to perceive our world around us in the childhood, what others told us about us, and how we formulated a meaning out of whatever we saw, we heard, and how we felt in the childhood. We developed a sense of self based on all of those informations which accumulated in our mind as numerous data. And because we were not in a state of awareness, conscious awareness in the childhood, all those data were collected and deposited in an archive, and that archive is called the subconscious mind. So, whatever is there in the subconscious mind, it's stored as an archive, and in our conscious realization, we cannot access those informations. But those informations are very essential to us for our well being, for our functioning, for everything that we do. So, how would we retrieve those informations and datas that are locked in the archive? That happens only through our life experiences. So, whatever life experience that you are in, I am in today, if we are not entangled, if we know or if you can find a way to to come out of the entanglement of the emotions and the feelings that's going on in that experience, we can have a meta awareness or a disassociation from that event, and that helps us to retrieve the data from the archive. So what, you can think of any experience that you're going through currently in your life, a good experience, pleasant or unpleasant, whatever it is, think about it. Normally, if it is a pleasant experience, we are entangled with the emotions of feeling good, and we overlook the data that is coming back to us from our subconscious. When it is an unpleasant experience, again, we get entangled in the feeling of stuckness, sadness, unhappiness, uh, limitations, feeling blocked, all of that, and that again makes us entangled and stops us from getting that information out of our subconscious mind, which is just there, just a step away, if we could learn to disassociate from that experience. So, for example, I had a client today who has been going through sleeplessness, so lack of sleep for quite some time in this COVID situation, especially been about 2-3 months, and it's affecting the well-being, because when you don't sleep, sleep helps us to restore our body. Sleep is very essential for growth and restoration. So when we are sleeping, our body, our cells are repairing and restoring back. And it's very important to us to have that 7 to 8 hours of rest at a time of the day, and especially during the night. So this client is not getting sleep for the last 2 months or so, and you can imagine how much it must have affected the client's well-being. Function, his productivity is also getting affected at work because of that. But it is just that simple experience of not having sleep can add valuable information to his understanding of self. So, what is it that's causing the sleeplessness? It's anxiety. Anxiety at work. So, what is happening at work? Uh, Probably here in this case, the boss is not happy, or the boss is creating circumstances where the client, my client, is made to feel that he isn't enough or he is not doing enough. So, what is now getting in his way is that I am not enough. That is the sense of self which is coming in the way of his well being. So, what we do in therapy, we figure out where did this sense of self develop from and how did it develop. And we figure out usually that it's the sense of self has developed in the childhood from the basic experiences that we had about ourselves when we were figuring out who we are in context to our environment. And we carry that sense of self in the archive, as I said, unaware, and keep on attracting more of such experiences where we are made to feel that we are not enough or we are not good enough. Ultimately, when a series of experiences that keep on happening creates a pattern, and that pattern then makes us wonder, why am I going through these experiences all the time? Why is this happening to me all the time? And what is it that what is my contribution in this? And how can I resolve all of this? So then we come to therapy, and then we look for answers and we figure out things that we needed to resolve and how to resolve. The outcome of it is living a life which is more fulfilling, a whole, where you are now functioning from an adult sense of self, no more the childhood sense that you grew up with. So, why am I talking about this today during mental health? Uh, Today is the World Mental Health Day, and we always take our mental health as the last thing to consider. If you have a stomach ache, headache, or any simple kind of ailment, you will definitely try to look for a remedy for that. But when you are going through these kind of problems in your life where you're functioning from a limited sense of self that can create your life experiences, block your life experiences, make you function from a limited sense and create limited experiences for you, we would not even consider to look into the mind and see, why is all of this happening, how did it get created, and how can I resolve it. We only go to the doctor or the therapist when things are completely out of control and we have in no way we can resolve it on our own. So, this is the worst thing that we could do to ourselves because we think we can manage the mind. We can all manage the mind, definitely, but we have to know what is it that we have to manage. And that can only come with awareness and understanding. You don't have to think about mental health when we feel like totally off balance or going crazy. We can think about mental health when the simple day-to-day well-being of ours is getting affected. It could be, as I said, lack of sleep. It could be your productivity in whatever thing that you are doing in life. So there would be a way to figure out what is it that is happening inside the archives of your mind, which you are just completely not aware of. Focusing on mental health means to make yourself more aware of who you truly are. Why are you functioning the way you are? So when a client comes to me, the first thing I ask my client is this awareness, why I do what I do. Do you have that awareness? The first awareness that we have to get about ourselves is why do I do what I do? If you can figure that out, you have figured out most of yourself, because now you know every thought and every action of yours has a reason, underlying reason. And you have figured it out. You have figured out that. That means you have figured out a chunk of yourself. So, as of now, if you have any questions related to what I just said, you can go ahead and ask me questions before I go further into this. You can type if you want, and I can answer. Or if you want to speak, of course, you can just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Any questions, please go ahead. Okay, so studies show that mental well being impacts on the entire person, mentally as well as physically. Mental and emotional well being supports sleep patterns, strengthens immune system, lowers blood pressure, and makes you more mentally alert. Mental health affects everything: our work performance, our relationships, our social lives, our educational achievements, and our experiences of the world around us. The World Health Organization states that good health is a state of complete physical, social, and mental well being. Mental health is complex, but our process is simple. After an initial assessment, we provide you with a recommended care plan or course of treatment that is right for you. It's your choice whether you proceed, and we can answer any questions that you may have. Whether you're suffering with depression or work related stress, an addiction or compulsive behavior, an eating disorder, or a traumatic event which has left you with coping mechanisms, bereavements, sexuality issues, anxiety, whatever it is that you are facing today, whatever might be the issue that is presenting in your life today, we can help. You may be experiencing one or more of these experiences at this moment. You may be concerned for a family member. You may not be able to accurately define the issue at all. You might go through internet, read up a lot, kind of trying to figure out what is the name that you could give to this disorder that you are going through, or your friend or loved one is going through. But just feel that things, when you, not all symptoms that you see has the same meaning. The emotional well-being of that person or yourself does not always have to be categorized. We support individuals and families and employers and organizations. Mental wellness affects one and all at the same time. We realize that the world of mental health professionals may be daunting. There are differences between psychotherapists, psychiatrists, counselors, therapists. But all of them, whatever they are doing, we are offering support services. And in our kind of role that we perform at Illuminations, we are more of therapists and counselors. We give you the support to understand yourself. So, what I call as an emergency can be used as an opportunity for growth. And that is what we are looking for. We are looking for ways to empower our clients to become individuals who are capable of understanding themselves. We are trying to create people who are aware and more conscious and functioning from that awareness and consciousness. So, the whole purpose of therapy is about empowering you to become a better version of yourself. As we all collectively face the pandemic, we are naturally focused on our families, communities, and livelihoods. It's completely expected and appropriate to experience fear during situations like these. It's also important to know how to manage overwhelming anxiety and keep perspective as, as the situation unfolds. While we are living through a traumatic event that will forever change our lives, there is no reason that we cannot emerge from this better, stronger, and more prepared to nurture our mental health. Understanding that fear is an evolutionary signal that captures our attention when we sense danger, while our initial animal response is fight or flight, our cognitive human brain then forms a plan. Once we assess that risk, make a plan, and set that plan in motion, fear is no longer helpful to us. Living in a persistent state of fear causes psychological stress that can be dysfunctional and harmful in the long term. Mental health can be uncomfortable to talk about because there has been a taboo around mental health in most of the societies, especially for those who experience it. Though poor mental health is more widely talked about now than it was, say, 10 years ago, it's still attached to some stigma. And that stigma too often leads to prejudice. Talking about our poor mental health makes us feel vulnerable. Opening ourselves up to that kind of vulnerability is tough, especially in a work environment and especially in an unsupportive work environment. Acknowledging and acting on mental distress in these uncertain times is the key to lessening the impact in the future. I don't see any questions yet. So I'll just continue since you guys don't have any questions. Mental health and mental illness facts I'm going to talk about now. So the mental health is more than just being free of mental illness. It is more of an optimal level of thinking, feeling, relating to others. Mentally healthy individuals tend to have better medical health, productivity, and social relationships. Mental illness refers to all of the diagnosable mental disorders and is characterized by abnormalities in thinking, feeling, or behavior. Some of the most important common types of mental illness includes anxiety, depression, behavioral, and substance abuse disorder. There is no single cause for mental illness. Rather, it is the result of a complex of genetic, psychological, and environmental factors. While everyone experiences sadness, anxiety, irritability, moodiness, at times, moods, thoughts, behaviors, or use of substances that interfere with a person's ability to function well physically, socially, at work, school, or at home are characteristics of mental illness. There is no one test that definitely indicates whether someone has a mental illness. Therefore, healthcare professionals diagnose a mental disorder by gathering comprehensive medical, family, and mental health information. Psychotherapy is usually considered the first line of care in helping a person with mental illness. It is an important part of helping individual with a mental disorder and achieve the highest level of functioning as possible. Psychotherapies that have been found to be effective in treatment of any mental disorder includes family-focused therapy, psychoeducation, cognitive therapy, interpersonal therapy, and social rhythm therapy. Medications may play an important role in the treatment of mental illness, particularly when the symptoms are severe or do not adequately respond to psychotherapy. A variety of factors can contribute to the prevention of mental health disorder. Individuals with mental illness are at risk for a variety of challenges, but these risks can be greatly reduced with treatment, particularly when it is timely. So, what does poor mental health look like? Like many illnesses, there is no one size fits all for poor mental health symptoms that applies perfectly to everyone. Poor mental health manifests a little bit differently in everyone, and presenting symptoms can vary based on the type of mental health a person is experiencing. Depression versus anxiety, for example. Additionally, those presenting symptoms can vary in severity. Some of the most common symptoms associated with poor mental health is feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, sadness, anger, anxiety, fear, excessive irritability, difficulty in concentrating, difficulty completing your daily tasks, hypervigilance, always alert, emotional dysregulations, increased use of alcohol, drugs, or other substances. It is also worth noting that difficulty concentrating and completing daily tasks can be a result of other lesser known symptoms of depression and anxiety. So you can also have brain fog, like lack of clarity, executive dysfunction, difficulty focusing on desired information while suppressing uninterested or irrelevant information, dissociation, feeling disconnected from the present moment. These are all escape mechanisms. Poor mental health can create physical symptoms like stomach pain, back pain, headache, general aches and pains, changes in eating patterns, changes in sleeping patterns. Chronic health problems can rise just from poor mental health. I'm sure many of you have heard or even experienced on your own uh, psychosomatic disorders. You have symptoms which appear like real problems, real physical disorders. You have gone to physicians, have done multiple tests, and the doctors have given you a clean chit saying that you don't have any health disorder. All your organs are functioning okay, all your vitals are okay, your blood tests come out okay, but still the symptoms doesn't go. It is related to your mental health. It is the chronic symptoms that your body is coming up with is a symptom that your mental health is not aligned with the symptoms that the body is coming up with. Changes in work habits also can be seen. Decreased productivity, poor concentration. This could be signs of burnout. Changes in physical appearance, like you don't groom yourself up, you don't tidy yourself enough, you don't take proper showers, changes in your demeanor. You might always feel increased agitation, restlessness, irritability, passiveness, disinterest in everything, worry a lot, increased tardiness, like late in everything, trying to procrastinate the work in hand, sudden lack of emotional regulation, mood swings, outburst of disruptive behaviors, change in social habits. You might isolate yourself, your unwillingness to go out and meet people or communicate with others, which is not perhaps your type. And suddenly all these changes, if you notice in yourself or someone else, definitely these are the initial alarm bells that you should pay attention to before things go really, really bad and go out of your hands. However, some people are extremely adept at hiding their poor mental health. You will only know they are struggling when they feel comfortable coming forward and seeking help. And that will typically only happen in an environment that foundationally encourages empathy, acceptance, and mutual respect. The best way to communicate positively with people who are suffering from poor mental health is to lead with empathy and compassion. Understand that mental health is still stigmatized and that talking about it makes everyone uncomfortable. The best way to encourage open communication about mental illness is to show your support by creating a non judgmental environment that thrives on mutual respect. If they trust you and feel supported by you, if they respect you and feel respected in return, they will feel less vulnerable when opening up about their topics, their distress. If you normalize conversation about mental health and sustain judgment, that will help foster open, honest communication. It's not enough to just tell them that they can trust you. You have to earn the trust by actively demonstrating that you won't withdraw your support when they explain aspects of their mental health. So, leading conversation with empathy is very, very important. Choose a neutral, private, quiet space to talk about it. Assure them that this information is completely confidential. Don't make assumptions about their symptoms or how it affects their life. Give them a chance to explain what's going on. Listen attentively and respond to the individual, not to their problem, but respond to that individual. Remember, at the end of the day, all of us, we need acceptance, we need acknowledgement. Prioritize honesty and clarity. Collaborate on an action plan. Encourage the person to seek advice and support and educate yourself. So, how to help a child if you see your children or a kid showing triggers? Help your child identify the triggers they experience most often. A trigger is something that causes intense emotion. So, if the triggers can be situation, people, location, nowadays most of the kids are at home doing online schooling, homeschooling. They are out of their natural school environment where they interact with other kids. They are stuck in one room throughout the day all by themselves. So there could be a lot of stress on those little children, which we are not really understanding. So it is very important to see the triggers in them and connect with them with empathy. What emotions do they feel? How does their body react to it? Identify the coping skill that they are naturally adopting without even realizing. What makes them feel safe? What activities, what people, what places? To help develop positive habits and tame the intense emotions. If we don't take the time to identify these or don't make an effort to use them, we might instead use unhealthy coping skills. And the child might be binge eating or showing some excessive high intense emotions like screaming, anger. All of that might be surfacing out, which becomes, as an adult, to sometimes you become impatient or unable to tolerate that. But these are all the symptoms that you need to take note of and understand why is this happening. It's very important that we establish safety at that point. Who are the people that makes you safe? The child must feel safe, and they might listen to those people around whom they feel safe. It could be a family member, it could be a neighbor, it could be a friend or a school counselor. Safe places. What are the safe places for the child? The child might feel safe when you take them out somewhere to your friend's place. What are the safe activities? These are meant to distract your child and calm them down. Examples might be going for a walk, playing soccer, reading a book, dancing. Now evaluate if the plan is working as your child experiences intense emotions. Have them try out a few of their coping skills. If one doesn't help them feel more regulated, try another one. Keep going until they find something that works. Once your child is regulated, talk about now what worked for them and what did not work, and make a note of that. If they experience a trigger that isn't listed on the plan and they're likely to experience it again, add it to the plan. Remember, an emotional regulation plan is meant to work for each individual. You have to adapt it to work best for them. And I'm going to give you certain breathing exercises now. So, what happens when we are under distress? The first thing that happens is our heartbeat goes fast, our breath becomes shallow. Um, we might have some muscle contraction around the chest, around the stomach, or different other parts of the body. We might feel lightheaded because of the lack of blood flow in most of the parts of the body. So when we are in distress, normally the majority of the blood flows to the extremities of the body, the limbs. So unconsciously, the body goes into defense mechanism, which is the flight and fight symptom. And all of this that we feel at that moment can be regulated if you can consciously focus on your breathing and bring yourself back to the normal rhythm of breathing. The most basic thing that you can do to yourself or someone else is help them with their breathing, to regulate their breathing and come back to their natural rhythm of the body. So the breathing exercises are great, the most simplest and the basic tools to use when you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or anxious. They teach you how to cope in a healthy way. These exercises also reduces blood pressure, lowers heart rate, and relaxes muscle tension, leading to better sleep, which may be disrupted in times of stress or anxiety. So I'm going to give you 4 simple breathing techniques. One is called the balloon breathing. The other is the flickering of the candle flame. The third is extinguishing the candle flame. And the fourth is the doorway breathing. I'm going to explain each of them. And the last thing is progressive muscle relaxation. So a combination of what we do to protect our mental and physical health is called self-care. And that is something that all of us should focus on, self-care. We offer resources for self-care. We provide mindfulness-based meditations and workshops, access to mental health professionals, and a lot of other courses that will help you to self-care. So now coming back to the breathing, the balloon breathing, imagining that you are the balloon. So as you breathe in, your stomach fills up, becomes expanded like the balloon. And as you breathe out, your stomach contracts and you breathe out through your mouth. So, this is the first simple technique of breathing that you can use on yourself, or you can guide others who is in some kind of anxiety or stress. So, take a deep breath and imagine your whole stomach is filling up and expanding like a balloon. And as you breathe in, remember to breathe in with your nose. And as you breathe out, your stomach contracts and you breathe out through your mouth. Just do it a couple of times and you can see how relaxing this breathing is. And in case of distress, you should do it for at least 15 times at a go and then give a gap and then again for another 15 times until your whole body's rhythm, your own breathing rhythm comes back to normal again. The next is flickering the candle flame. So here you have to visualize that you have a burning candle in front of you. And as you breathe in through your nose, you're going to breathe out through your mouth, but this time imagining that the candle flame is only flickering as you breathe out. So your breath out through your mouth is going to be very controlled, regulated, not like a gush of air coming out of your mouth. So as you breathe in, so you have a pursed lip, you're breathing out a controlled breath and imagining the lit candle in front of you and the flame is just flickering but not extinguishing. Please continue this again for a couple more times to get it right, and you will start to feel your body becoming more and more relaxed and your breath becoming more controlled and rhythmic. The next is extinguishing the flame. So the earlier one was flickering, and this time you can understand the difference, right? So as you breathe out through your mouth, this time you're going to breathe out a gush of air, imagining that you are now going to extinguish the candle flame. So breathing in through your nose, breathing out, gush of air, extinguishing the candle flame in front of you. Continue this again in the time of distress for at least 15 times, giving a gap and continuing for 15 times to start to feel normal again. The last type of breathing is called doorway breathing. Imagining that how a doorway is. It is at the shape of a rectangle where the sides are longer than the top and the bottom. So when you're breathing in, you're taking a short breath as the breadth of the door. And when you're breathing out, you're breathing out for a longer duration of time as the length of the door. And then you're breathing in again. You're coming at the top of the doorway now, where again your breath is short, you're breathing in, and you're falling to the bottom of the door, where your breathing out again is long. So remember the rectangular shape of the door. The lower and the upper part is the shortest, and the sides are equal and longest. The in breath is short, and the out breath is long. Imagining that you are continuing to breathe in now as the breadth of the doorway, and releasing the breath now as the length of the doorway. It is very simple, and when you have the impression of the doorway in your mind, you know the breath in is short and the breath out is long, and continue this in the pattern of the doorway for again at least 15 cycles of breath. Other than self-care, what you need to build is resilience. It is very important to build up resilience, mental resilience. Being able to bounce back from a traumatic event and adapt to adversity, that is resilience. And resiliency can apply to organizations as well as people. And it's not an inherent personality trait. It is a skill that can be learned, strengthened, and practiced. We provide educational resources like resiliency training at our center that helps you to become more resilient to whatever you're dealing with now. Stress, workplace burnout, anxiety, depression can all be addressed with treatment. The serenity of the counseling environment is just part of this process. I will help the client to reach the root cause, often spanning that root cause which was spanning for many years, causing stress and trauma to that person, to enable the individual to process the information and learn to engage healthy responses to traumatic events. After your assessment, you will be provided with recommendations based on your situation. Now I'm going to guide you to another technique which is called progressive muscle relaxation. And the breathing exercises and the progressive muscle relaxation, these are the very two simple techniques which can help you to cope with the moment of distress until you look for help, until you reach out for help. For this, I would like you to keep the earphones on, but you can just relax um, on wherever you are. Like if you want to lie down, you can lie down. If you want to rest your head on the wall or on the chair that you're sitting on, you can do that. So just get yourself in a very comfortable position first. And this technique is about tensing and then relaxing the muscles. And we deal with the group of muscles, like a muscle group at a time, one group at a time. Though this technique is simple, it may take several sessions to master. So remember, if you don't get it right today, it doesn't matter. It is available on the internet. You just have to Google progressive muscle relaxation and you will see the technique given in details. If you can't get it right today, that's not the end of the world. You'll find it again. So, progressive muscle relaxation may be done, as I said, sitting or lying down, tensing up a group of muscles, and then holding it for a count of 5 to 10 seconds, then releasing the tension from the muscle all at once and staying relaxed for another 5, 10 to 20 seconds. Some people prefer to count, like tense for a count of 5, release at once, rest for a count of 10, or tense for a count of 10, release at once, rest for a count of 20. So pay close attention to the feelings of relaxation when you release the contracted muscles. When going through the muscle groups, some people start with the hands, others may start with the feet. You may do one side of the body at a time or do both sides at the same time. Listening to a recorded script helps. So I'm going to guide you now. The first thing that you're going to tense up is your hands. So clench your fists of both the hands, clench them tight, tense them for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. And rest for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, extend both your arms, elbow locked. Bend hand back at the wrist, like both your hands are going to be straight, locked. At the wrist, bend your hands backward and you lock both your arms straight and then hold. Tense it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. Now bend your arms at the elbow. Bend your arms at the elbow like you're flexing your biceps, how you do it. Flex your biceps of both your hands, hold them tight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Rest for 10 seconds. Forehead. Wrinkle your forehead into frown. Tense completely. Tense up your forehead in a frown and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Rest for 10 more seconds. Now your eyes. Close your eyes shut. Hold them tightly, pinch them tightly and hold them tightly and tense them for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Rest for 10 seconds now. Your mouth. Press your lips tightly together, as tightly as you can, and hold them for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Rest for 10 seconds. Your jaws. Open your mouth wide, stick out your tongue as far you can stick out, and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. Your buttocks now, your gluteal muscles. Even if you're sitting or lying down, tighten your buttocks, hold them tightly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. Your abdomen. Tense your abdomen tightly as you can. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Hold for 10 seconds. Rest for 10 seconds. Chest. Tense your chest as much as you can. Hold them tight. Even hold your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. Arch your back as far as you can without hurting yourself, and hold in that position the furthest you can arch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. Your shoulders and your neck. You can pull your shoulders up as far up as you can towards your neck, like from here towards your neck, as far up as you can, and hold in this position. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let your shoulders fall. Rest for 10 seconds. Legs. Straighten both your legs. Lock them on the knees. Point the toes towards the shin. You're flexing the toes towards the shin as tightly as you can. Hold them. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. And the last part is again the legs, but this time you're going to point your toes towards the other side. So curl them up, point them, and curl them under. So straighten your legs, lock them on the knees, point your toes, and curl the toes under. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest for 10 seconds. How does it feel now as you relax your whole body? This is a very simple exercise, and the breathing exercises that I gave are also very simple ones. But it has a profound effect on you when you are under distress. So remember, these are the simple things that you can do to help yourself or help someone else before you ask for help, or you seek for help, or you call out for help. And we are here to help. And it is without any shame, without any taboo, without any judgment. You can reach out at Illuminations just to get an assessment of what you're going through. And if you want to continue with the treatment plan that we're going to give you, that will be your complete decision later on. So, all of you today who is watching me for the first time, and all of you who has joined in the Zoom meeting today, you all have access to a free consultation with me anytime at your convenience. You can just have to call up Illuminations and book us through. There is some questions. I'll just go through it. Yes, all of that helps definitely. Aromatherapy stimulating the vagus nerve, but a layman doesn't know all of that. So these are the simple techniques that any layman can use. Thank you all for being with me today. And as I said, if you are interested, any of you at any time, you can call up Illuminations and book a free consultation with me for a free assessment of what you're going through right now, and I can give you a treatment plan based on that. And hope to see you all. Uh, Otherwise, all the best and have a good evening. Thank you all. Bye for now.